So at the very end of your Chapter 5 packet, you will see that I have listed all of the valid inference forms that we've seen and all of the invalid inference forms that we've seen. We have seen 6 valid inference forms. There's what I think of as the modus twins, modus ponens and modus tollens. There are the 2 syllogisms, hypothetical and disjunctive. And then there are the 2 dilemmas, simple and complex. So they pair very nicely. The moduses, the syllogisms, and the dilemmas. And of course, there are the 2 invalid inference forms, the fallacy of assuming the consequent and the fallacy of negating the antecedent. So these are just for your reference because it's handy to have them in some kind of an easily accessible form. Now, you might be wondering, what's with all of the symbols over here on the right column? It's another way of stating what is on the left column. This is how it would be represented in symbolic logic or formal logic. And I just wanted you to see it so you understand that these symbols, they can be really kind of friendly, and they can be a way to make this information even more conceptually compact. The arrow is just if then. So when we see arrow, we say if before we hit the first part. We say then when we hit the arrow, and then we say the back part. So if P, then Q. If P, then Q. P, therefore Q, modus ponens. This little squiggly line, that's called a tilde, and it actually means the opposite. So if P, then Q, and the opposite of Q, therefore the opposite of P. That's modus tollens. This, no new symbols. If P, then Q. If Q, then R. Therefore, if P, then R. Hypothetical syllogism. Now for disjunctive syllogism, we need to have a way of representing or, and we do that with a V, which is kind of nice because it seems like, a fork in the road. Do we go left or do we go right? P or Q. And the opposite of P, therefore Q. I've put in square brackets the opposite of Q, and down here, P, just to show that you can do it that way too, right? If I have P or Q and I'm told the opposite of Q, I can conclude P. The simple dilemma and the complex dilemma, we've just fairly recently covered these. Either P or Q, if P then R, if Q then R, therefore R. Simple dilemma. Either P or Q, if P then R, if Q then S, therefore R or S. Excellent. And now the invalid ones. And remember, it really helps with poodle and dog here. If P then Q, and Q therefore P. That doesn't work. It's not useful to be told the back part of an if then. This would be like if poodle then dog, dog therefore poodle. Does not work. Similarly, it does not help to be told the opposite of the front part. This would be like saying, if poodle, then dog, not poodle, therefore not dog. That doesn't work either. So this is just like a handy cheat sheet, I suppose you could say, to help you to become really familiar with these inference forms. There are lots of other inference forms. I chose these 8, the 6 good ones and the 2 bad ones, because they are fairly common and I think they would probably be maximally useful. So that is just there as a reference. Okay, thanks.